You're listening to the LaRocque Life Podcast, where hosts Michael and Laura explore relationships, adventure, freedom, and just some all-around real and raw conversations. Drawing from their 17 years together with a bit of sarcasm, humor, tears, a few and lots of love. They deep dive into the male and female perspective on relationships and navigate the highs and lows of life together. Sit back, grab your love mug, and let's get into today's conversation.
All right, babe. Episode 30. What are we talking about?
All right. Today we're going to talk about intuition and how to connect deeper in your relationship through intuition and what that looks like for women and what that looks like for men, the feminine and masculine roles. But really, what we're going to dive into is deepening your connection through respecting her intuition and trusting his gut.
Yeah, that's easy way to sum up everything I think we talk about, right? It's just any kind of relationship, it's always got to respect, and then just you're a partnership. You have to take that other person into account, and definitely work as a team. I say that a lot to like we're a team, right? No matter what, and you have to do, if anyone, like obviously with sports or anything like that, if you're ever part of a team, you know that you have to make certain sacrifices for the betterment of the team, right? And that's what I feel we do as a family, and it's ever since getting that mindset or really embracing that mindset, I think we're definitely going in the right direction.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, like I know for us, and I mean, a lot of the women I work with and just even like friends and family that we have these conversations with, I think that a lot of frustration and pain and arguments and disagreements in relationships come from a place of not understanding like the workings of your partner or the workings of yourself too, right? On a deeper level. And then that communication level, that trust, that respect, as we just said.
Yeah.
So, you know, why we're going to talk about intuition is because it is such a big part of a person's life. And it's not something that we learn about in school. It's something that's kind of stripped away from us, I think, as children, unless you come from a family that is really about embracing that and basically cultivating that within you. And so, because I believe like as children that we are very connected to something bigger than ourselves. Like we come here pure, we either like fall into the trail of fear or fall into the trail of love,
right?
Depending on which gets cultivated in our home more, right? And so, I mean, you may be listening to this. I actually feel like you're probably not listening to this if you're just like really in tune with your intuition and life is really awesome and things are going really, really great for your life and your relationship. I mean, they could be, but the reason you're probably seeking more knowledge and seeking information and just even listening to a relationship podcast is because you're looking for something more, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to mean that you're in a bad place. You could be in a place where you're struggling, but you could also just be in a place of wanting.
Oh, I just
more,
want to learn more and just bring more to the table. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I got a lot when you were saying that because it's so true, and it is stripped away from us, and we're born with it. Like, I mean, we got to 2020 with mainly our instincts, right? Like I always say like 150 years, 200 years, whatever it's been. But before that, we didn't have all these big institutions. We didn't have corporations. We didn't have all these people governing. I mean, there were still governments and monarchs and things, but there wasn't, we had to live off our instincts, right? Like we had to do whatever we had to do generally to survive. And mothering, like, I mean, just raising your kids, raising your family, you had to do certain things. I mean, being a man in those situations, you had to do certain things, and being a woman in those situations. So there's a lot that we seem to give up in the last few generations of just like handing over control to something else or a higher power. And it's kind of what we're at right now.
Oh my God.
I shouldn't even say higher power, like a bigger, like corporations and stuff. Definitely not a higher power, but
power that thinks it's higher than your innate knowing.
That'd be perfect. So I mean, just with that, like we're such strong beings and smart beings, and we have to lean into that more and realize and just trust ourselves, trust our gut, and it's there for a reason, right?
And instincts. I like that you said instincts because I didn't think of that before. I feel like a man, men are gathering in groups talking about their intuition, right? Like it's kind of definitely doesn't like fit into a masculine role. And I mean, if we're going to dive into the feminine and masculine characteristics, intuition, like that word is more the feminine characteristic. And so we've talked about feminine and masculine before. Mike, you have feminine and masculine characteristics.
Yep.
I have feminine and masculine characteristics. You have feminine and masculine characteristics. It doesn't matter your gender. Every person has feminine and masculine characteristics. You are just more likely to be more of a core dominant in one or the other. You can be wounded or you can be empowered or disempowered in both your feminine and your masculine energies. And this is kind of a very complex subject. So we're not going to dive totally into that right now. But for the sake of this conversation, I think we should lay the foundation that we're going to talk as if the woman in the relationship is more feminine and the man relates with more masculine traits.
Okay.
And so if we're going to talk like that, and I mean, that's how we are, so it's easy for us to talk like that. If you feel like you're on the flip side with your partner, like you as the woman are the more masculine
and that's
dominant,
totally normal,
and he's the more feminine characteristic, that's fine. You just want the polarization. That's what creates that passion and that lust and that desire.
Yeah.
But so just flip, obviously, what we're saying. But I'm going to just speak from the place of me being the more feminine, and you're going to speak from the place of being the more masculine.
Right.
For ease of explanation.
Yep.
And so characteristics of the feminine are intuitive and heart opening, right? Like heart expansion. Characteristics of the masculine are more like logistical.
Totally. Yeah. Everything
right?
has to
Like,
make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
planned
so,
out.
yeah, it's more linear. So I like that you said instincts, because men definitely have an intuition. Like you have that feminine aspect of yourself. You do have a connection to a higher power, a higher something that gives you those feelings.
Yeah.
But I think as a man, in instincts, just when you said that word earlier, I was like, oh yeah, that gut feeling, instinct, right? But as women, it's totally intuition, and it's something that we know greater than anyone else can ever tell us about our bodies or our children or our lives. But yet, and I'm just going to full on tell you my beliefs, we've been raised in systems, and I'll just go with systems all around us that have essentially stripped us of our belief and our trust in our own innate wisdom. We are meant to go to a man, usually. I mean, women doctors exist as well, but I mean, staying back at the beginning more of, doctors, they were usually men. So men or women, but a man in a white coat to tell us how our body works,
right?
Or how to birth a baby. And it's like, cool, you've never done that. You read it in a book.
No,
you know the science behind it, but I have something deeper than you have, right?
Yeah.
And so we lose that connection. We're taught to trust someone outside of ourselves. And so that really does cause an issue in relationships.
Oh, massively.
In multitudes of ways. And so, okay, I'm going to just stick to our list because I love this topic. And especially these days, I'm so fired up about it because there's so much division and there's so much fighting going on in the world because science or, science says you need to do this. But then if you don't do it because you trust something different or bigger in yourself, or what's better for yourself or your child, well, then, you're a terrible person, or there's just a divide, and it ruins friendships. It ruins families.
Family's a big one. Yeah.
And we see it going on hugely in the world today with everything that's going on. And so I get really fired up about this subject. So I'm going to stick to my notes so that we can keep this a timely conversation, and I can let Mike talk because I'm going to just
No, I liked it. And this is what you got to riff on, man. No one needs to listen to me say what a woman needs to be, or even a man for that matter. I just always go back to we've just been stripped of this gift that we've been given. Like we've gotten this far generally because we know what to do, right? And it just sucks that we gave it up to fucking like Walmart and Home Depot and all these other
and
things.
the pharmaceutical companies,
yeah,
and the governments, and
it's like fuck. I get like I'm
and.
not completely ignorant. Like I understand, and you know, if I break my arm and my bone's sticking out of my arm, I'm gonna go see a doctor. I'm not gonna go to my natural path, and I get that, and I understand it, and we don't have to fight about it for days. But we definitely just got to look. And same with those like most doctors, they don't need to see you for a stomach ache or like certain things. Like it's just not, they don't fucking know any different either for that. Like for all they know, you're lying. You just want a script for something, or you want a doctor's note saying you don't have to go to work or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure it's just like being a police officer. I always think of this as like being a cop on when you're growing up as a kid, or even fireman for that matter, or astronaut, or all those things. They look so awesome on TV or movies.
Yeah.
And they make them so crazy, like firefighter, just always fucking rushing down the road, putting out fires. But in reality, being a fireman, you're like, generally you're cleaning up and you're organizing the shop, or if there is a call, it's probably going to be like some homeless guy or someone had a drug overdose or something. Like it's not, you're not just rushing to a fire all the time. Or like being a police officer, you're not like cracking cold cases and like going to CSI, doing all these things. You're like, you're just doing shit work generally, right? And you're seeing the worst of people. I feel like even doctors, like I don't have my social circles, not a lot of doctor friends and but I mean, you know, they I'm sure wanted or have the goal of like, you know, saving lives, making a big difference, doing all these things. But in reality, it's another job. And it's just like they see all these different cases of just the same shit of people wanting just pills, painkillers, or
I'm sure doctors
the
get
amount
sick of it too.
The amount that they got to fucking sift through. So it just sucks that we're giving all this power to them. And then, I mean,
it's just another job.
It's just another job, man.
Day.
Like they're probably fucking, it's Wednesday. There's like, I got a tea time. Like they're ready to check out too. Like it's a normal thing for them too. So
yeah,
it just sucks that we put these on such a pedestal, and then you're going to be let down because everyone makes mistakes. No one's perfect. Right. And that's where if you're really fighting your instincts, you should have just went with it. You would have been fine. Right.
Yeah. Well, and I think we should take it back down to, I guess we talked about feminine and masculine traits, and so intuition for women, we'll call it intuition. Men will call it more of an instinct, right? Because, well, let's dive into that a little bit more because so if you go back into the day, like women, their intuition, like they were the medicine women, right? Like
100%.
They were the medicine women. They were we'll call them witches. Like they mixed herbs. They
were out in the bush going to get herbs and stuff.
They did the things. They brought the things to their family to heal them. They were the healers, right? And they gathered together, women gathered together, and they brought this healing. They brought prayer. They knew what to treat a woman. They birthed babies with women, right? Like there was no men involved. There were midwives, and it was women who were gathered together to support the woman and like bring through like all of the power of the ancestors and channeling through all of the wisdom and the guidance and bringing those babies to life.
Yeah.
And I can just hear someone's voice saying to me, yeah, but how many babies died because they didn't have medical? And I'm like, yeah, okay, for sure. Some babies got lost. But then I'll also challenge you how many babies and births go bad because of medical intervention. So we can we can dance around this forever. But so if we talked about intuition in that way for women, like they know, right? They know what their baby needs. They know what their body needs. If they fully trust themselves and trust their bodies and there's nothing in the way of that, they are fucking powerful.
Oh, massively.
And so many women today, like we just stated earlier, are just so in the hands of the medical professionals, the systems, the governments, the patriarchy, right? So if you, though, were to talk about men in that way, like what would you say back in the day, that instinct, where did it come from? What did it look like?
Well, again, like everything goes back to providing, protecting, even just hunting, like guys, like just over the generations, they knew where to hunt. They knew how to follow the herds and move with them, and knew when weather was changing and when to hunker down and what to prepare for and all these different things, right?
Yeah, and like watch for danger, right?
Absolutely. Well, that was probably the biggest thing.
Know when to let the guard down, but always kind of being on the lookout.
Oh, 100%, right? And now we just, again, as men, we give up so much of that to, I don't even know, like just people. Like we're giving it up to institutions and we're giving it up to systems, and
everything just got so easy though, right?
It is, and you gave up control. And I think I talked about this a couple of weeks ago of that's where I was when I was extremely depressed and very wounded, and just I wanted to come home because I felt I was so beat down from, again, work as like careers and stuff, which is obviously something that implemented in the last couple 100 years. But I just wanted to give up control so badly when I got home to just shut down for a while, right? But we're doing this, we're not giving control up to, a partner or like someone in the family. It's like giving up control to a fucking government that says we have to pay X amount of dollars just to breathe or to whatever, right? And I feel that's a big downfall for us because it's easy. It really is. And like, I get it. Like, 100% get that. It's the
Well, and I
easiest thing
think
ever.
that's a part of men and women losing that instinct and that intuition is also convenience.
Massively.
Right? Like,
especially now with like, oh, well, I could just do that and look at my phone, or I can just do that
Yeah.
and play video games or zone out on TV or whatever it is.
or I can just take a pill to ease this pain instead of
fucking-
actually,
you
as
can-
a woman,
yeah.
like going into my body and asking what she's telling me, where she's guiding me to. What do I need to release, right?
Yeah.
What do I need to deal with? What emotion am I suppressing? It's just like, pop a few Tylenol, pop a few ibuprofen, that pain goes away, right?
Well, those are the nice ones. Like you get into opiates, and I understand why most people are addicted to opiates because you you're just riding cloud 9 after that.
Yeah.
So I understand that wholeheartedly. And again, not being medicated or whatever it is, it throws off your vibrations. And then all of a sudden you're going to give up that. It won't even register. Like you're going to give up your instincts. And for women, especially, like if you're drugged up at all or just masking things, you're going to lose all that.
Yeah.
Just that innate wisdom that it's all going to go out the window.
Yeah. Okay. So then I think that's good. We covered like kind of the basics of that, right? But if we bring it into like today's age and in your relationship right now, how does a man support his woman who is either learning to trust her intuition? I mean, maybe has never ever trusted her intuition, but now that listening to this is going to be like, I'm going to start trusting my intuition.
I hope so, yeah.
Or she already does trust her intuition, but it's kind of like it's a problem in the relationship because he doesn't get it. And this is the other thing, guys, is that guys and girls, is that like men are from Mars, women are from Venus, right? Like most men are more masculine, most women are more feminine. We don't think the same. We don't act the same. We're not meant to,
we don't
but
want to,
yet we expect each other to, right? Or we expect, like, I used to think that you should do what I thought you should do, or like what I think, like what I felt. You should feel the way I feel. But like we're totally different. And so I think that's where a lot of the issues arise. And so I think like we should dive into a little bit of how the woman how I would like you to support me in learning to trust my intuition, or in even just trusting my intuition through our relationship and through our life together.
Well, most women probably never had that support system for it, or never, like you said, like you didn't even get a chance to explore those avenues because it was always shot down right away, whether it was your dad or your mom or teachers or whoever the hell was in your life, right?
Well, yeah, because again, like you're in school, you're judged by like a scaled system, right?
Oh,
like,
100%. Yeah, if you don't fit in those boxes, then you're a fucking weirdo that
yeah,
you're
so
not
you
gonna
just
fit in.
learn to let those pieces of yourself go and fit into this box and go. But part of trusting your intuition is letting that all go, because it's unique to you. It's really powerful. But okay, let's dive into. So I'm going to talk about first how you can how you can support me, and then you can share how I can support you. And we'll just share it from that point of view so that people listening can feel that, right? And take it for whatever they need now. So as a woman who has learned only in the past, like getting really good in the last like couple years, but over the last however many years, but working on myself, I've tapped more into my intuition, right?
Right.
But for someone who trusts that now, and we're in a good place with it because you do trust me. So back before, like if I were to say something like, I don't know, I'm just feeling like maybe we shouldn't be walking down this dark alley alone in Vegas. You may be like, oh, whatever, it's fine. Let's just go this way, right? I'm like, no, let's turn and go this way. And then it can cause fights. I mean, we could get into danger, right?
Right.
Whereas now life is different for us because we have a child.
Yep.
And I mean, he goes into situations like daycares and preschools, and we have to make medical choices for him and food choices and different things for him, right? And so where I'm so happy that we're on the same page now and that you do trust me and you don't have to understand what I'm trying to say or what I'm trying to do. You just trust me,
right?
Because we've worked up to this point. But like, it causes such a divide if you're always questioning why I say something. Because as a woman who does follow my intuition, and intuition doesn't speak in words, it's a feeling. It's a feeling, it's a sight, it's a sound, it's a smell. It's something that comes in, and it can't necessarily be put into words. It's just an inner knowing. And that's why it's called that, an innate wisdom.
Right.
And so as a man, if you're like, well, tell me why we shouldn't be doing this, or we should be choosing that for our child, or why are you acting this way or doing this or doing that, or why do you think we should go that direction? It's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Right.
Just trust me though, right? Like, I'm just saying we should turn right instead of turning left. And then later we find out there was an accident on the left, or we would have been the accident. Like, I don't know.
No, that's fair.
But there's just something that tells me, and it pisses me off if you need to know, or it pisses me off if I say like, we need to take Lennox out of this because I feel that something is not right. And then if you say, oh, well, whatever, I guess, just know though that like this is going to be more of a problem for you, or like you're going to have to deal with the consequences. I hate that because it's like, you're not supporting that I believe, you know, there's danger, or there's just something toxic, or there's something going on. And so all I need from you is to say, okay, you know something bigger than I do. You know something deeper than I do. You're feeling it because this child literally came from your womb. Like, you have this connection. Or, you know, for myself, with whatever choice I'm making, when you just say to me, okay, babe, I got you. Like,
Right.
I support you. Like, let's do what we got to do. I feel really supported, and I feel really respected, and like, you trust me, and it makes me feel more confident in making those choices moving forward. And it makes me more confident in choosing my intuition, which then I do believe guides us like in a way better route in our relationship and in our life as a family moving forward.
Right.
Right. And, yeah, that's it. If you just don't question me, you just get behind me. Like, I love that.
Don't fucking question me. Just carry on.
Don't ask any fucking questions. Just show up where I need you to be. Get this done.
Sound like me at work. Bossing people around. Don't ask fucking questions. Just do it.
Right. But not from from a total loving place, but just knowing that like, and I think we got each other's backs, but in different ways, right? Like, when it comes to like making these choices for our health and for our son and for my body, I need you to trust me. And when you do, I feel more respected. I feel more confident. And then in turn, I feel more attracted to you.
Right. No, that's fair. That's 100% fair. Yeah, I don't see any way around that. Really, it took me a long time to get to that point. Whereas I know I just wasn't confident myself, right? I didn't think we were steering the ship in the right direction, or even just a direction. It didn't matter which direction. So it's definitely taken some years to get to this point, but absolutely. You're the mother of my child, you're the mother of my child. We've been partners for however long it's been now. And just, it's like ride or die. I know even, I say this a lot at work too. If I can quote a lot of work, but, like, I don't care if you make the right or wrong decision, like, especially like moms with their kids, there really is no wrong decision. Like, it's not like, right? I mean, 99% of women know. So I got no qualms there, but I'm just glad you're making decisions. Like, make a decision, right? And I'll back you up on it, like, right or wrong. If it's wrong, then we'll figure it out and we'll get through it. It doesn't really matter. Like, I mean, there's mistakes, and mistakes happen, and problems arise, and especially if you're making like big choices, you never know, like it might go south on you. And I mean, you trusted me when we wanted to move to Vancouver after London. you knew, you're like, I don't think this is a good idea, but
my intuition said no.
You went with it. You let me flow with my instincts or whatever the hell that was when I wanted to go. And I do chalk that up as a failure, but a failure in I learned a lot of lessons, and we came out much better people. And maybe it was just a blessing in that our son got to hang out with basically just us for the first 6 months of his life. And that made I think that made a huge difference. There's a big bonding things, right? But like I say, at least make decisions. And it's when you get paralyzed and don't do anything, then it's really hard, because then you're myself, I'll just sit there and ruminate about all the shitty things and like back and forth, but not making a decision. So I got your back no matter what. And like I say, with two people, like a team, it doesn't matter I shouldn't say how, there's always really bad choices, but I mean, whatever choice you make, we can recover from it regardless. But generally, like I say, like I'm stuck in the negative, but there's a lot of positives out of those too.
Yeah. And
so
I would just say on
that
though, that if a woman is fully trusting her intuition, the chances of it being the wrong choice, it might be an awkward choice that isn't a part of your life plan, because it wasn't a part of like what you had expected. But at the same time, it's not going to be a wrong choice.
No.
And I never recommend for women to start trusting their intuition on, whether you should make some huge drastic life change, right? Like start slow and build up that confidence.
Build your way, build that muscle, right? And it does. It takes your decision-making muscle. Again, that takes a lot to build up and to really trust in yourself.
Yeah.
I know, like I have real issues with second guessing myself. I was like that at a young age when, again, I always go back to work, but like there was every day I have to make, I don't know how many decisions a day, right? And just off the cuff decisions. And you can't sit there and just like balk at stuff. You have to make a decision, live with it, and good or bad, you just live with that decision and you carry on. Because indecision is the worst thing for anybody, right? Like man or woman in a relationship, at work, whatever that looks like, it sucks. Like you got to make those decisions and live with them and carry on.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially being a man in a family, like you're the patriarch of the family. Like, yeah, the woman, generally the woman's pushing the buttons from behind. She's
the queen.
Yeah, she is the queen, and things are going that way. But I mean, as a man, you got to make those choices and let your kids see that, and your wife, let her surrender into that and be the woman but be a team and carry on and just go with it. It makes it easy on my end of things, knowing that you got my back too, that when we make decisions, it's together, or whatever I choose, you're behind it.
Well, and that goes into the next point that I wanted to make sure that we hit on was how the woman can support the man in his instincts, right? And like really trusting his vision and allowing him to be the protector and the provider. So do you want to touch on that? I mean, you are, but that's...
Yeah, no, absolutely. But there's no better feeling knowing that I have you in my corner. So then it makes those decisions a lot easier to make as well. And even if you slip up in those or whatever that looks like, it's just knowing that you're not going to sit there and nag at me the whole time, or sit there and be like, I told you so.
Throw it in your face.
Oh, that's like the worst thing you could possibly do on anything.
Yeah.
No matter what, right? Like, yeah, it just sucks. And don't be that person, man or woman, like whatever that looks like in a relationship. That is not a relationship. It's easy to fucking judge. Like that's the easiest thing. Like being a critic or being anything like that is so easy, because finding negative is the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Like you can go around and look around, you can find negative all day and talk about it all day, and it snowballs really easily.
Yeah.
So I mean, just having that person's back and agreeing, like just helping out wherever you can when they make those decisions, it goes miles in a relationship.
Yeah. And so I mean, ultimately, we are wanting the same things. Like we want to be trusted, we want to be respected in our choices, but it's like we have a little bit different roles, right? Like you trust me in following my heart and making choices for our family and our health and our child and my body and your body, right? Well, I don't make choices for your body, but you know what I mean? Like, I do nurture your body with great foods.
Oh, tons of help, right? And
the supplements.
Again,
and,
you're a fucking team, and it's a support system.
Yeah,
it goes both
but
ways.
I'm just like, here, take this. You need to take this. Make sure you're eating this. And it's not from like a bossy, controlling place. It's like, I just know our bodies need this right now. Like this is how we build our immunity. This is how we stay high vibe. And so you trust that in me, and that's my lane. That's what I do in our relationship because we've worked that out, right?
Yep.
But then on the flip side, I also respect you when, you make a decision like we're moving to Kamloops for my work. Okay, cool. Let's go. Like as long as we're together and I'm with you, I don't care. Right.
No, it's massive.
So yeah, like just, I trust your direction. I trust your vision. it doesn't mean that I don't have those things myself, but at the same time, like, I just know that I give you your manhood.
And that's where communication is key too, right? Like obviously you listen to me and I listen to you, our point of views. And then that makes making that decision easier. But ultimately it's whatever lane you chose to run, it's still your final decision. But I mean, we have to have that good communication, and then we know we're not missing anything, or it's not coming from a place of like malice, or it's not like a place of
be resentful.
Yeah, there's no resentment or anything like that. Like we communicate, we talk about it, and then we make those decisions and carry on. Yeah,
and I think that for women, I feel like someone listening to this may be like, well, that's kind of a hard thing to do. And men might think so too, but I just know I can speak for myself. Like 8 years ago when I was like, I think our marriage is done. Like we were talking about divorcing, right? And we were basically going down that route. It was really hard for me I realized at that point that our whole relationship, for me to give up control, because I felt like I just needed to control everything, to make everything perfect. But that was all my own wounds, right? But now that I've done so much more inner work, I'm able to just flow, and I'm able to trust you more, and I'm able to surrender into it all. And I'm just like, I don't have to be the controller. I trust. Like I trust what's going on here, right?
But you use that intuition too, because you can't just give it up to any guy, right? Or any woman. Like it took a long time to build that trust up. Like 8-10 years ago, if you're fully surrendered, or you weren't kicking back a little bit on choices that we made, like the biggest choice would have been like, what liquor store are we going to go to, or things like that. Right. Like, so it takes time to work up to that, and you got to build up that trust. And I mean, it doesn't take 10, 12, 17 years to do, but, you definitely have to be on the same page communication wise, and not just don't just jump from relationship or jump partner to partner, just constantly giving out, like looking for me to control your life, right? Like you still have to lean on those instincts and feel right about it. But it is a fine line. It's a little bit of a dance, but again, it's a big communication thing. And that's ultimately what it always comes down to, is as long as we're on the same page and working that same direction, then we both veer off. We got our jobs, and we do those jobs to get us to that goal. Yeah. I think it's kind of how life works with anything, right? Like projects or whatever that looks like outside of relationships. I mean, you have a goal to build a road, and there's certain steps to do to take that road. And there's certain people that do certain things that, that's your fucking job. Go do that job. And you trust that person's going to do that job. And you always have to check in, and that's where check-ins come. And like every morning, like, what are you doing today? Like, how are we doing? And that's where we check in with the relationships. Like, how are you doing? Do you need my support? Do you need help with anything? We're doing this, and this. Like, okay, great. And carry on, right? But 100%, I still go back to, it has to be communication. It has to be with the right people. Or otherwise, you're just giving up control just to be lazy again, or to be in that comfort zone of like, here, run my life. Yeah, that's true. So it's a tough one. It's a little bit of a dance, but if you're in the right mindset and you're in the right place, and well, you just know the difference because you follow your intuition. You follow your intuition. Yeah, exactly. Right. Like your instinct will kick in and be like, this bitch is trying to fucking run my life. I'm not going to do this. So it's again, it's a fine line, but once you find that dance and walk with it, there's no better thing. Like, I mean, again, it's not all rainbows and butterflies, but at least we can make those choices together. And there's not so much pressure just on you. Yeah. No, that really does make sense. So I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's kind of not getting rid of your ego, but being aware of your ego and recognizing where you're being in that ego of like, I need to be right, or I need to control this, and allowing yourself to just sink into, okay, what's mine? What do I trust?
what's yours? What do I trust you to take care of?
Yep.
And then we need to communicate that, right?
Absolutely.
And find our roles, and
just not always second guessing that person, or like throwing out the negative comments or the backhanded comments. Just, that's not going to help anything. It's still not going to get anything done in the right direction, right? So no, just trusting, knowing, and working together.
Yeah.
And just always those check-ins. I feel like, and again, that's where this podcast grew from, was just these conversations that we had all the time, right? And just knowing that we got each other's back, and how we can help support those things.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, okay, I have a question for you then. If I was a man listening to this and I was like, well, how do you start trusting that instinct then? Because if I've been so removed from it for so long, like, how do I start trusting that?
For a man?
Yeah.
Well, again, it's little things though too, right? Like you said, don't start off making massive, huge choices right off the bat, but just take little things throughout the day and get little wins with your like with that. Like, whether it is, like you said, like, do we go down this dark back alley or do we not? Generally, if there's a dark back alley, I'll find it. We'll go down it and we'll figure it out. But
we'll take a risk.
Yeah, we're still here. We're dressed like ninjas tonight anyway, so we'll stink it.
Which is kind of intuitional. I mean, Mike got changed first, and then he went to the living room, and then I was still in here finishing something up, and then I went and got changed, and then I went out to the living room. I was like, oh, hey.
Well, one of us has to.
We're wearing the same thing.
But yeah, like, I mean, just those little choices throughout the day, right? And sometimes, I know as a man too, it's tough if you're at work or career or however that looks, and just getting beat up there every day too. Like, depending where you're sitting, or if you're like a middle manager just in fucking no man's land, you're just kind of in limbo, and then no one takes you serious at work. So you come home, you almost feel like she's not, like, your family's not going to take you serious, and you're just a fucking beat down shell of a man. So you just got to really start taking choices. But it starts with you though. Like, that's where you could start. It's just making choices for yourself. You don't even have to worry about, like, not worry about, you worry about your family and your wife and everything like that, but just trust yourself and instincts with yourself. Like, if you're fucking grabbing a chocolate bar, like, your instincts, like, I have that conversation with myself every time. It's like, do you really need to do this? But you still do, but start with those choices, and just don't, right? Like, make the right choice,
build
in that
muscle, like
build it up, and you just keep working that way.
Do that workout. Like,
exactly. That's the biggest thing, is being accountable to yourself, and you'll start respecting yourself. And then you can really start listening. As soon as you start respecting yourself, you're going to listen to those instincts, and they kick in, and that'll just start snowballing into your relationships. Or if you're single, it'll snowball into making all those right choices for yourself, where that perfect partner is going to be waiting for you. Like, hey, where the fuck were you my whole life, right? So it really is. You have to write your own ship, and then you can bring it out.
Yeah. And I mean, could you say too then that in taking responsibility for yourself first and trusting your instincts, also, like, not reaching in the cupboard for that food or doing the workout is also allowing you to release suppressed emotions that you have been suppressing for a long time, which have been masking your instincts, right? Or like, just having so many layers on top of that, it's really hard to know, like, what your truth really is, or what that gut feeling is because it's so masked by suppressed stuff. So
big time. Because people, if you asked me that even 6-7 years ago, I wouldn't have known. Like, I don't fucking know. Like, just living life. Like, I'm trying to do what I can do here just to get through. Like, leave me alone, right?
Yeah.
So it does. You got to take care. As soon as you get your own house or your own body in order, then it'll start to go get your own mindset in order. And again, that's where that's the secret silver bullet with relationships is, like, I'm good, you're going to come together, and it's going to be great, right?
Yeah.
You can't look to that other person to frickin' make you feel good, or I shouldn't say that, but it's just to run your life, to make all those decisions for you. You have to use your intuition and make those decisions yourself, but you got to trust it, and you got to build that muscle.
Yeah. And essentially everything that we talk about is all so very connected, right? Because, I mean, we've been talking about your frequency and your energy and clearing space out and releasing everything. But this is all just very connected, because I think as a woman, I can speak from a woman, to connect into your intuition, like, you got to get your vibes right. Like, you gotta, your frequency, and I'm all about the frequency, but, like, your intuition is such a high frequency aspect, right? Like it's a higher self. It's the connection to your soul. It's, I mean, whatever woo-woo thing you want to put to it, it is just a high frequency. So this physical body can't be like this low, dense, disrespected vessel of, chips and chocolate bars and pop and negative mainstream news media. I'm just going to throw that in there. That's my little jab at the mainstream news. Right. So yeah, it's like this vessel, you have to clean it. You have to clear that out so that you even have the availability to raise your vibration and be on a different frequency. And then you can listen to your intuition a lot more and you have that deeper connection. And then it just gets easier from there. Oh, that's massive. And I mean, even from the female's point of view, like I'm assuming that you want a man to do that, right? Like you want a man to make some choices that he has to make and just give up that control a little bit, right? Like you want to sink in your because feminine? In order for me to let go of control, someone's got to be steering the ship, right? So I need you to be in control in order for me to sink deeper into my feminine, right? Yes, there's times in my day and my life that I need to be in control and I need to do things and I can dance between that back and forth. But like in our overall life and our relationship, I can sink deeper into my heart and trust the process when I know that I'm safe because you got control of some of the other things. Right. No, that's perfect. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, when you lead, I feel safe and then I nurture, I create. Right. No, it's perfect. I don't know. I think you want to just sum it up like that or what? Yeah, I do. Yeah, let's do that. Because like I say, we talk about this all day and we will future episodes, but yeah, I mean, I could like just jam on. I love talking about this with my clients and helping them strengthen and trust that intuition. And we have lots of little exercises and journaling prompts and different things to go deeper into that because it is a shedding as well. But as I said, the vibration's got to be right. And then you got to start to learn to build a relationship with your intuition just as you would a person and invite it in and then trust it. So, I mean, it is a process, but also like it's fun. It can be a lot of fun. And then the cool part about it is when you start doing it more and you start like experiencing almost wins, right? Or like just confirmation that you're like, holy fuck, this is powerful. Like I am powerful. Yeah. And so it's really cool. And I have tons of stories that I love to share with people too, or like people like to ask me questions on why I decided on a certain thing. I'm like, I don't know. I can't tell you. I just trusted my intuition and it led me here. And that might sound like a cop out to some people who don't believe in intuition. But if you know intuition, you'd be like, yep, get it. Totally get it. So, I mean, we have tons and tons of stuff to talk about in that regard. So, anyways, our tools and challenge for the week is really just awareness. Yeah. There's nothing really concrete, just be aware of it. Yeah, I mean, take what you heard today, take something that stood out from you and just start paying more attention. Like if you're a man, start paying attention to where you could be trusting your instincts more. If you're a woman who identifies more with your feminine, where could you start paying attention to your intuition more? Make those small steps, trust it. Yep. And then on the flip side of that, begin to trust your partner. Yeah, allow that person to really sink into those. And it'll change your life. 100%. And when they start, having ideas or bringing up thoughts or bringing up different things in their relationship because they are following that intuition or that instinct, let them. Yeah, don't just shit all over their ideas, right? Yeah, or try to control it. Yeah. Just trust them and work together on it. So that's all. That's perfect. Well, I love you. I love you too.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at LaRocque Life Podcast and online at LaRocqueLife.com. Ladies, find Laura on social media at Laura LaRocque and online at LauraLaRocque.com. Have a request for a show topic? We love that. Send us an email at michael@LaRocqueLife.com or DM at LaRocque Life Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review.